Kayvaan Shrike, chapter master of the Raven Guard, leads a small task force in pursuit of an Alpha Legion insurgency team, disguised as members of the Imperial Fists. After months of tracking, Shrike has brought the traitor Marines to ground on the derelict former Shrine world, Glacius 4. Captain Tor Garadon of the Imperial Fists arrives planetside with a strike team of his 3rd Company Marines to eradicate a secret Chaos Cult uprising. As bolt rounds begin to sear the air and the ground shakes from the footfalls of massive dreadnoughts, the Alpha Legionnaires melt away, content that they have successfully manipulated these two honored chapters into conflict with one another. Will the Angels of the Emperor be able to discover their mistake before the bloodshed has gone past the point of no return and a revered hero of mankind is left dead and broken? Intelligence has located 5 key objectives on the battlefield that must be secured for victory to be attained. The task of holding these objective points becomes more difficult as low atmosphere wreaks havoc on the Vox systems, causing communication breakdown for both forces. The Raven Guard are led by the esteemed chapter master Kayvaan Shrike. He brings an apothecary leading a 10-man squad of assault intercessors, a 6-man squad of aggressors with flamestorm gauntlets, 10 intercessors, an ATV invader with onslaught Gatling cannon supporting 3 outriders, and as fire support, a ballistic dreadnought. The Imperial Fist are led by Tor Garadon and a squad of heavy intercessors, Biologus Apothecary leading 5 more heavy intercessors, a Primaris Lieutenant with power weapon and plasma pistol leading 10 intercessors, and 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts with macro plasma incinerators as fire support. The aggressors are set up far on the right flank of the Raven Guards in order to pressure the enemy's line. They are supported by the Ballistus Dreadnought in the middle of the battlefield. Prepared to take the middle of the battlefield is the Apothecary with his 10 assault intercessors. Forming a backline of support is the 10-man intercessor team. Supporting the Outriders on the flank is the Invader ATV, and the Outriders are positioned in order to push the left flank. Kayvaan Shrike sits in deep strike prepared to drop and deal devastating damage to the foe. The Redemptor Dreadnought sits square in the middle of the line, protecting the center of the battlefield. Tor Garadon holds the left flank of the Imperial Fist line with his heavy intercessors. The Primaris Lieutenant and intercessors are in the middle of the field prepared to fall onto the mid-objective. Heavy intercessors and the Biologus form the right flank along with another Redemptor Dreadnought. The Raven Guard swiftly begin their attack and are given orders to focus on the middle of the battlefield and to focus fire on all enemy leader elements. The assault intercessors and apothecary quickly move towards the center of the objective. The Outriders quickly move up to secure an objective point on the left flank, and they are supported by the Invader ATV to provide overwatch. The Invader ATV locks on to the enemy intercessors and unleashes a salvo of Gatling rounds. Due to far range and the heavy ceramite armor, all of the rounds fall harmless and are unable to land a single wound on any of the enemy Marines. Locking his targeting array onto his opposing counterpart across the battlefield, the Ballistus Dreadnought lets loose a savage salvo of everything he has into the enemy Redemptor Dreadnought. The only thing more than just dents and scratches on the thick hull plating of the monstrosity was a single wound. Having played aggressively, the Raven Guard have come to bring the fight to the enemy. Imperial Fist Command lays down orders to focus on all command elements of the enemy and to control the center of the battlefield. As the enemy moves forward, the solid line of Imperial Fist gunfire is prepared to mete out a reckoning. The lieutenant spurs his squad forward, taking cover from the ruins in the center of the battlefield, prepared to put pressure on that mid-objective and the enemy beyond it. Tor Garadon leads his unit forward to secure the left flank and put himself in a position to lay down fire upon the enemy. With the roll of salvos and the patience of the Marine long entombed within the Redemptor Dreadnought, he sights down the Outriders across the battlefield. Through the smoke and haze that their bikes have kicked up, he unleashes a firestorm of plasma bolts and heavy bolt rounds from his Onslaught Gatling cannon. The Dreadnought cares little for the speed of the bikers, and even less for the deep plating of their ceramite armor. One biker falls a plasma bolt through its chest, and another is deeply wounded. Supporting its Outrider brethren, the Invader ATV unleashes its Gatling cannon against the Redemptor Dreadnought, but all of the rounds ping harmlessly off of its thick hull plating. The second Dreadnought retaliates against its counterpart across the battlefield, unleashing everything in its array against its ballistus foe. Even with the experience of the warrior entombed within it, and the firepower of the weaponry gifted to it by the Emperor, it is unable to cause a single wound and do more than a scratch against its cousin. Tor Garadon and his team of heavy intercessors open fire upon the aggressors advancing across the field from them. With practiced aim and gifted precision, the Emperor's sons are able to bring down one of their Gravis-plated foes. With orders unchanged, and the enemy unleashing salvos of firepower upon them, the Raven Guard prepare for an aggressive advance straight into the teeth of the enemy. The Assault Intercessor Squad plants a trap on the mid-objective. Having secured 3 key elements of the battlefield, the Raven Guard planned to push forward and bring the fight further to the foe before them. The Apothecary quickly orders his squad into the cover of the ruins in the center of the battlefield. The Outriders, moving to intercept the team of intercessors, quickly advance their bikes along the left flank, with their ATV moving to provide better fire support. The aggressors, having lost a man to Tor Garadon, are enraged and charge forward, prepared to face the foe hand to hand. Having secured the back battle line, the intercessors move up to provide better fire support for their brethren in the front ranks. Dropping from deep orbit, Chapter Master Kayvaan Shrike enters the battlefield, prepared to meet the foe wherever they will face him. As igniters click and Prometheum tanks ignite, the aggressors fire a fusillade of flame into the intercessors. As flames lick around them, 2 of the enemies fall cooked alive in their armor. Continuing to push the enemy, preparing to soften them up for the charge, the Outriders fire their heavy bolt pistols, but alas, are unable to score a single wound. Supporting them and unleashing its onslaught Gatling cannon is the Invader ATV, firing into the intercessors. And dropping 2 of them. Kayvaan Shrike unleashes the fury of his bolt pistol blackout, but to no avail as it lands harmlessly in the dirt around the intercessors. The Raven Guard Ballistic Dreadnought, intent on distracting and causing harm to the Redemptors supporting the left flank of the Imperial Fist, once again unleashes the full fury of its arsenal against its cousin. As a cracked grenade finds its way between the deep hull plating, and a las cannon bolt rips through the enemy dreadnought, it is brought down to below half strength. Igniting their chainswords and revving their bike engines, the Outriders charge into the enemy intercessor squad, prepared to deal whatever damage they may, so that their assault intercessor brethren are able to secure the middle of the battlefield unmolested. Having successfully secured the middle of the battlefield, the Raven Guard have aggressively attacked the Imperial Fist line, and if they are able to weather the firestorm that is coming their way, they can continue to pierce their talons into the enemy's heart. With orders remaining unchanged, the Imperial Fist battle line remains solid and is prepared to meet the oncoming onslaught of the Raven Guard assault. Tor Garadon and the Apothecary Biologist hold down 2 key objectives as they look to press the attack. The Redemptor Dreadnought on the right flank moves forward, needing better line of sight to deal with Kayvaan Shrike and get through whatever stealth technology he is using. Tor Garadon moves up the left flank, continuing to deny that space to the enemy aggressors. Falling back, the lieutenant and his team of intercessors move back in good order, preparing to take out their outrider enemy from range. The apothecary biologist moves forward with his squad of heavy intercessors, prepared to support their dreadnought. Opening fire on the outrider threatening them, the Primaris lieutenant unleashes a plasma bolt, blowing apart the head of the enemy, but the backwash causes severe injury to himself. Hoping to deal more than just one kill that they were able to do in their previous salvo, Tor Garadon and his heavy intercessors unleash a rainstorm of bolts upon the aggressors. But due to the thick plating of the Gravis armor, none are able to cause wound or injury to their enemies. Disheartened by Tor Garadon's lack of efficiency against the aggressors, the Redemptor Dreadnought providing fire support also unleashes his weapons into the squad of aggressors. Faring little better, he is only able to cause a single wound, leaving the aggressor still able to operate at full functionality. At point-blank range, the Redemptor Dreadnought on the right flank locks its target onto Kayvaan Shrike, using all of its skill and all of its training. Plasma bolts searing the enemy chapter master, onslaught Gatling cannon rounds pinging off his armor, unable to lock on to their mark. And finally, Twin Bolter opening up with a fuselage of fire are able to bring the enemy down, critically wounding Kayvaan Shrike and putting him out of the fight. With most of the left flank decimated, the heavy intercessors open fire, hoping to clear off the last remaining element of the Raven Guard force on that wing of the battlefield. They're unable to score a single hit, but orders to focus on lead elements have been completed, with Kayvaan Shrike being critically injured. With the threat of the enemy's Redemptor Dreadnoughts, new orders have been passed down to focus on these large constructs and take them out of the fight for good. Still controlling three key objectives, the Raven Guard play aggressive and move forward, preparing to get into hand-to-hand combat with their Imperial Fist adversaries. The rearguard elements of the Ballistus Dreadnought and squad of intercessors move forward to provide better lines of sight in order to support their forward elements of assault intercessors and aggressors. The assault intercessor squad opens fire into the intercessor with their lieutenant. Their heavy bolt pistols causing a single wound. Supporting them is the Invader ATV, rounds ricocheting around and dropping one of the enemy. With orders to focus on the enemy's dreadnought elements coming down, the Ballistus fires upon its weakened foe. A single crack grenade finds its way between dented holes and blows the machine apart in a spectacular display of fireworks. In retribution for the squad member they lost to the fire of Tor Garadon and his heavy intercessors, they unleash a firestorm of flamestorm gauntlet fire upon them. As Promethean fires lick at the Gravis armor of Tor Garadon's bodyguards, one of them falls to the withering flames. Supporting their aggressor brethren, the intercessors open fire. They're able to drop a grenade into the midst of the Gravis unit and blow one of them apart, further softening them for the charge that is coming. With revving chainswords, the assault intercessors crash in upon their wounded foe, prepared to finish them off in hand-to-hand combat. The aggressors, prepared to mete out judgment, fall upon Tor Garadon and his bodyguard. With chain blades whirring, the assault intercessor squad cuts down the lieutenant and every member remaining of his squad, firmly eliminating the middle elements of the Imperial Fist battle line. In a bloodbath of heavy Gravis armored bodies colliding in explosions together, the aggressors and heavy intercessor squad led by Tor Garadon mete out heavy damage upon each other. 2 heavy intercessors fall, but 3 aggressors are crushed under the power of Tor Garadon in his Hand of Defiance power gauntlet. Enraged by the loss of their chapter master, the Raven Guard are able to successfully accomplish both missions given by Raven Guard HQ. Imperial Fist provides new orders to push forward into enemy lines and to deploy teleport homers so that reinforcements can quickly be sent to aid what is left of the forces on the ground. Still controlling 2 key elements of the battlefield, the Imperial Fist must fight off the aggressive enemy advance and push into enemy territory. The Redemptor Dreadnought moves to take the center of the battlefield, threatening the Invader ATV and what is left of the Raven Guard left wing. Opening fire upon the ATV, a single plasma bolt sears through the hull plating, destroying the vehicle and its crew in one fell shot. Under threat of the assault intercessors in the battlefield, the Apothecary Biologus and his team of heavy intercessors unleash a furious storm of bolt fire upon the foe. 2 of these black-clad warriors are dropped to the ground. Locked in brutal hand-to-hand combat, Tor Garadon's sergeant is brought low by the fists of the aggressors. In retaliation, he kills the last remaining squad member, leaving only the aggressor's sergeant to face him in single combat. Bloodied but not beaten, the Imperial Fists have successfully completed their objective to move into enemy territory. New orders have arrived, calling on all Raven Guard to take no prisoners and to push forward into the enemy's deployment zone. The Assault Intercessor Squad, with their Apothecary, move forward to threat the last squad of heavy intercessors. Falling back, the aggressor sergeant gives room so that his fire support can unleash hell upon Tor Garadon. Prepared to charge, the Assault Intercessors unleash their weapons upon the heavy intercessor squad. As bolt rounds fly through the air and ping off of heavy-plated ceramite armor, only a single heavy intercessor is hurt, but still operational. The intercessor squad opens fire to support the aggressor. As rounds land, one is able to sneak through and cause a mild wound to Tor Garadon. In retribution for the loss of their own commander and the wounding of Kayvaan Shrike, the ballistic dreadnought fires into Tor Garadon, dropping him low with a fuselage of crack grenades and las cannon fire. Attempting to break the Imperial fist line and send them in a rout, the assault intercessors charge in, chainswords at the ready, prepared to hack down the enemy. As Chainblade meets combat knife and crushing bodies encased in ceramite armor crash into one another, blood begins to spill as Marine faces Marine, hand to hand. One of the heavy intercessors is dropped to the ground, eviscerated by the warring blades. In retaliation, 3 of the black-clad assault intercessors fall to rise no more. Pushing their advantage and continuing to be aggressive, the Raven Guard complete both objectives handed down by Mission Command. Believing this foe disguises the Raven Guard to be truly of chaos, the Imperial Fists order that they cleanse all areas tainted by the Raven Guard. With very few operational elements left to them, the Imperial Fists must now do everything they can to find any advantage and deal as much damage as possible to this enemy. The Redemptor Dreadnought moves forward, putting himself in line of sight to unleash his deadly weapons upon the enemy's backline. Firing his macroplasma incinerator into the lone aggressor, he's able to get through the armor, but is unable to drop the superhuman warrior for good. Turning his onslaught Gatling cannon and twin bolters into the enemy intercessor squad, he is able to bring down a single member. As fighting continues, on the right flank of the Imperial Fist line, more blood is drawn as 2 more assault intercessors fall in the fray, and another of the heavy intercessors falls to the ground, critically wounded. With the enemy on their heels, the Raven Guard are commanded to capture the enemy's headquarters and to get deep into enemy territory, completely wiping out any elements of the enemy that remain. With the Dreadnought sitting square in the backline of the Raven Guard force, they prepare to unleash all of their firepower into it, routing the enemy once and for all. Moving towards the enemy's headquarters is the aggressor, but as he goes, the enemy Redemptor Dreadnought Overwatch fires into him. A single plasma bolt sears his body, burning him through, and finally dropping the last of the aggressors. In retaliation, the intercessors fire into the Dreadnought from point-blank range, dealing damage with their crack grenade, even as their bolt rifles ping harmlessly off the hull plates. The ceramite too strong. Foe-bloodied, the ballistic dreadnought from mere meters away unleashes a fusillade fueled by rage and hatred, bringing down the foe. With superhuman strength and tenacity, the assault intercessors and heavy intercessor squads continue to fight on, continuing to bloody and bludgeon one another. Again, the Raven Guard have pressed their advantage and complete another mission objective to go deep into the enemy's battle line. As bolt guns fall silent and chain swords are deactivated, the choking haze of smoke and debris that have clouded the air begins to dissipate. The Adeptus Astartes take stock of the battlefield and to their horror come to the realization of their error. With many of their own wounded or dead, there's no time to further investigate or assign blame as they rush to get their fallen and hurt aboard their respective ship medicays. Apothecaries and sergeants take control as they recover the injured Kayvaan Shrike and Tor Garadon. The Imperium's pride has taken a serious blow this day, but also they have been reminded of the lethal threat that the secretive Alpha Legion poses.
Thank you guys so much for watching that video. We hope to put out more battle reports in the future. I've got some really cool ideas of what we're going to do with them. And really, this one was a learning experience. There's a lot I got out of this, a lot I learned from it. I've got a ton of ways in which I would change, I would improve different shots. Now that I kind of know how to go about doing this, I've got a game plan for how to move forward in the future. But I would absolutely love if you would post down in the comments maybe some ideas of how we could improve, things we could do differently. There's different rules that we actually didn't play right. There was a couple in there. As I'm editing, realizing how many mistakes we made, how many things that really needed to be changed. We needed to clean up on the gameplay aspect, let alone the creation of the video, whether that's editing, whether that's the cinematography, the shots that we get. There's a lot there that we've written down notes, and we want to learn from this, but we also want to get feedback and not just change what we have in our minds, but hear what you guys want and make changes off of that. If you guys enjoyed the look of that Imperial Fist army, well, here's the cool thing, is you could have an army that looks just like that yourself. That entire army was a project that I did for Rattlecan Studios. It's a new painting studio. They're really getting their foot in the door. They're doing an incredible job. I have been incredibly grateful to be able to come on and be a part of their team. And if you looked at that army, you said, that's awesome, I wish my Marines could look this way, I wish my army could look this way, then definitely reach out to them and see what they're able to do for you guys. You can go to rattlecanstudios.com. You can find them on Instagram. You can find them on Facebook. If you reach out to me, I would be happy to give you their info as well, so you can reach out and you can see what it's going to take for you to have the army that you absolutely love to set down on the table and play with your opponents. Guys, I cannot say thank you enough. It has been almost a full year of making videos by the time this one goes out, and it has been so much fun. It's amazing how much more motivated I have been in my hobby, and I thank you guys for that, for the encouragement, for pushing me. I appreciate those of you that have been critical of different things, have given me ideas, have really challenged me on some things and made me a better painter, but also helped me create stuff that's a little bit better content-wise for you guys based off of your ideas. I cannot wait to work on some more stuff. Got a lot more stuff coming down. Thank you guys again for the watch. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.